My version of the Matoran universe is speculative biology. How should an ecosystem work in which organisms are designed to thrive but have neither the function of aging nor the function of reproduction? The creatures of the Matoran universe possess ether receivers. It is less like an organ because it is more related to tissue or circulatory system. That is, it is located throughout the whole body. The structure embodies the potential energy of the ether force network into real energy or even necessary matter. The reactor of the first component provides energy for the life of all creatures. Many beings in the Matoran universe are capable of wearing kanohi, but each can use their ability on different scales, depending on the scale of assimilation of the energy of the first component. Starting from the Matoran, who are barely able to use kanohi, and they wear only one type of kanohi, which doesn't even have a name. Continuing with the Rahi, who use kanohi up to half power, and ending with Toa, who can use all kanohi, except for legendary masks, at full power. The Makuta were able to use all kanohi at full power, while the radiation damage was barely noticeable against their mass. The main task of the Matoran is to transform the energy of the first component into a superposition field, the so-called ether. Thus, the field from which all the energy for the Matoran universe is taken from the most numerous race of the planet. This is achieved by the passive operation of the Matoran's kanohi. It can direct energy from the wearer's body to a chosen location or a target, but the Matoran, having little control of masks, send this energy into the ether. It is this ether that also destroys the body of the Makuta, which is why many individuals begin to hate them. The Toa themselves receive this semi-processed energy and, in addition to their own, are able to focus elemental energy. The Toa also have their own small first component reactor. The Nova Blast almost completely depletes the supply of charge provided for Toa and brings the reactor energy production almost to a critical level, which forces it to recover up to several days. It is precisely because of the reactor's ability to overload and collapse into strange matter that the rods of the rod glove have 3 reactors each. With the Hevel Makuta, I described how Rahi appear, but did not describe some important attributes of them. Rahi can produce materials. Much like a reptile molds, some Rahi shed bristles, plates, horns, claws, and other objects unusual for earth animals. Plants also provide such renewable resources. Everything is powered by ether in one way or another, which means such resources are inexhaustible. Biomechanics here makes it possible to create complex metamaterials or usual versions of known materials, such as organically structured Kevlar. Others may regulate temperature, atmospheric composition, or other phenomena that require adjustment based on the unusual origin and position of a given planet. Rahi wear kanohi on altars for activation that are usually not the face. They can also consist of kanohi like the skull spiders. Rahi keep the ecosystem together. Their goals are to keep the development of the Matoran, maintain the balance of microelements on land and in the ocean, and control the population of plants and protozoa. Their total number is 1 billion individuals. Otherwise, Rahi are similar to ordinary terrestrial animals. Let's talk about the origins of other members of the Matoran universe. After the complete reconfiguration of Matanui, canisters began to generate in the concreted area around Kininui, connected to a power source mostly by pipes and wires. The canisters were filled with a special solution and inorganic bodies began to be generated in them, after which they were covered first with soft tissues and later with a exoskeleton made of complex materials. The biomechanics in the bodies of the creatures of Matoran universe are highly intertwined. It is difficult to say where nanodevices end and where organic structures begin. They also often combine carbon and silicon organical compounds. Different Matoran were equipped with different advantages and physiques, similar to those of the G1 Matoran, except all tribes include Matoran of different genders and heights. After the formation of the Matoran, the solution in the canisters began to evaporate and dissolving and taking away the material of the translucent shell of the canister, assembled into a web-like structure of cellulose that kept the Matoran suspended. By the time the Matoran were fully formed, the structure had already completely dried into a structured dust. The 12 were formed in a similar manner, but were housed on 6 pillars near the main castle of Kininui. This arrangement was necessary to transport the reactor of the first component into each body. These reactors were created between the reactors of the rods least used in the process, also grew into the towers. They enclosed the castle of Kininui with 8 columns, in the center of which was Ikimu with the mask of creation. Let's move on the Toa's abilities. Toa have the ability to operate perfectly within their ecosystem. Their elements were called by Matoran, but even if they understood the full range of Toa powers, there is no word to summarize this set of abilities. They also do not have the abilities of the rods. They often take powers from adjacent rods, and some rod effects cannot be acquired at all. 3 of the Toa have ether focus, that is, his body parts specialize for elemental transformations. Other 3 have telekinesis, that is, the ability to change the environment without direct influence, or to move objects through the air. Tahu is not a Toa of fire, he's a Toa of plasma and increased temperature. Fire is a special case of low temperature plasma, but he also doesn't control magma. He focuses the ether on the tips of the fingers or the ends of the feet. He's capable of operating at extremely high levels of temperature and radiation. Anua is Toa of the molecular structure of stone and soil. He controls transformation such as the transformation of coal into diamond, has focus throughout the body, has night vision and increased stamina. Pohatu is a Toa of granular structures of sands. He is capable of telekinesis of stones, be it dust or cluster of boulders, has increased strength. Liwa is a Toa of atmospheric pressure. He can move air masses with extreme forces, create a vacuum, and he also can change the composition of gases in the presence of necessary elements of the periodic table. Has increased agility. Gali is a full-fledged Toa of water. She is capable of controlling steam or water and is also capable of water telekinesis, purifying water, working at extremely high pressure, holding breath for a long time, and even more. Kopaka is a Toa of temperature drop. He shoots some kind of laser to lower the temperature from a distance, but he still needs the focus to create this laser. He can also restructure ice into snow and other structures, but does not possess his telekinesis. He is resistant to extremely low temperature, and he also have increased armor. And, according to tradition, the continuation of the story. Having received the Mask of Creation, a group of Makuta, such as Krika, Antros, Bithil, Chirox, Mutran, Vampire, Tridax, Kojol, and Spiria, were on a mission to fill the energy gap between the Matoran Universe and the Makuta. Using parts of Rahi and sacrificing Makuta Spiria, an artificial altar was created for the Mask of Control and Creation, set on Nirra Island, near Voya Nui. Antros invents the so-called decay, the ability to suck energy from any material associated with the energy of the first component. The energy ultimately reformed into a format used by Makuta. This was a breakthrough, and Antros had every right to add this ability to his beast, and also to the beasts of his acquaintances. Decay was also used to work with legendary masks. He also won his place as the lead worker to create the ideal body, and it was already required to have this technology. However, an uncloned malfunction forced the Mask of Control and Creation to circuit in a conscious impulse. Antros, along with Kajol and Tridax, were absorbed into the body by the analog of Shadow Hand, killing them all. The body assimilates everything around it, which damages the artificial canister, and the surprisingly strong at this stage of development body gains consciousness and destroys the capsule shell. However, the body is soulless by definition. It has no inner light, it is powered by decay, and in general, it is a Frankenstein of dead parts. Icarus responded to the noise, but before he appeared around the corner, Krika had been transformed by the masks into a blade of decay. Icarus was critically damaged by it with surprising efficiency. Anything that comes into contact with the sword turns to white dust, and the resulting energy is converted into new Makuta cells and accumulated in a pocket dimension. It was very suspicious to see how, a year after the horrific events of Icarus' attack, a creature with the physique of a Toa appeared on the island, with its color combining the colors of both attacked Toa, and its body containing a strange anatomy with cables protruding from the back of his head. The body came across Tawahi. Piruku, the Matoran, trusted the lost wanderer and asked Tahu to borrow his non-golden how. The body itself had somehow retained the potential of creation energy, and objects that come into contact with this body can spontaneously upgrade. At the same time, the Makuta cells cause the objects to partially rot. Thus, the Kanohi metamorphosis would have forced Tahu to go on the offensive if Akimo had not stopped the hot-tempered Toa. The newcomer was given the name Takura.